Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Hello and happy Sunday. About to enter the last week of February. Where has that month gone? Of course, being Black History Month, and we get the shortest month of the year. That's fine. It's going to be in the 70s this week, coming week in Vegas, up to 78, 79. So I guess we're cutting winter short. It's starting to get darker later, so we know what next month means. I think daylight savings is at the end of next month. Yeah, where did that time go? Happy weekend wrap up. Today, like I said, I did not have a structured show because I felt every now and then I feel like the previous show, which was the Saturday overnight live show, that we just got everything off of our chest. I ran out of things to say. We are going to have Dawson, independent artist, independent comic, Dawson Metric. We will have him on next week. He's on a different time zone, and I didn't want to throw together a show to support his project in late night type of situation, on spur of the moment. By the way, for those of you who are used to watching me on YouTube, if you probably can't see me, StreamYard and Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, has sent out a notice that that we might not be properly broadcasting on Twitter. Let me see if that's the case. Hold on, because I know other streamers were having problems with it. Let's see. And that appears to be the case. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to manually put it in there because I know some of you watch it there by default. And here we go. Oops, wrong. Discard. Go home. Post. We are live. Come on over and watch. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on lately with the two. I hope there's no issues, but there you go. All right, so now we are live. And thanks for reposting, Aaron. All right, Duckman, how are you doing? Rational Skeptics, William Aha versus Flock of Seagulls versus Alphaville. Well, the first two, I only know two songs. Aha, obviously, Take On Me, and More Than Meets the Eye, which is another one that was a hit overseas, but wasn't a big. But Take On Me was like a huge 1985 hit. I mean, that defines the era, the MTV era. Flock of Seagulls, I only know the one song from them. I ran. I know them. Alphaville, I know the band and I probably know many of their songs. What did they sing? Hold on. I know I should know. I know I should know this. But it's not a group I hear every Forever Young. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, well, that would be the song. That would be the song, the main song I would hear from them. What else did they do? They're in German. They're Germans. We should same sort of similar. Yeah, Forever Young. Big in Japan. I've heard of that song, Victory in Love. Yeah, so for Alphaville, it would be the title track for on side 2. So yeah. Well, what did I like more? I would have to say Aha, because that video was iconic. That video, and it has a cool beat. I mean, it just grew on you, and that's the kind of shit in the 80s that just grew on you. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Aha. Hi, my favorite kangaroo. How are you doing? What's up, yeah, in the chat tonight. Yeah, how you doing? Congratulations to hey, I just made a post on Team USA winning. By the way, that's a horrible dude. The camera angles on that last. I was up watching. I am not an early morning riser. You guys know this from the schedule I keep with this show. But USA playing for gold, first gold in 46 years. It's a special moment. I'm a hockey fan, so I wanted to be up. I got up, I set my alarm for the start of the game, 5 a.m. Pacific time, fell asleep, woke up right in time to see the end of the third period and watched the entirety of the overtime when Hughes scored the goal. Dude, you couldn't even see the puck. I had to watch it on different angles in slow motion. I obviously knew he won because of the cheering, but as an added bonus, Connor McDavid was on the ice when that goal scored. He was the captain of the team. Fuck the Edmonton Oilers. You know how I feel as a Kings fan about him and his crew. Finding new ways to lose on even bigger stages than the Stanley Cup final 2 years in a row. So, yeah, that was great. The Olympics are over. The closing ceremony happened this afternoon, as a matter of fact. So, hey, I'm going to try out. You know, we've had technical issues and all manner of things, you know, between StreamYard. We're having some with Twitter. But I rerouted my siren into an asshole alarm. I'm going to see if it works. Hold on.
Well, the
asshole, it works.
You know, yeah,
it works.
Yeah, the asshole is already on screen, so it's like
I summoned the jackass.
You summoned the asshole. The asshole is already there.
Ah, there he is, boy. Hey, something's working tonight. StreamYard's not working. Cox barely works. StreamYard is its own nightmare, but hey, the asshole he summoned the asshole.
It only works. Well, it only works when an asshole pushes the button. So
nope. I summoned the asshole, and it was like you heard that. It was like a dog whistle. You know when you blow a dog whistle, and the dog's like, "Oh, what is that sound?"
It's genetic. It requires the fingerprint of an asshole to work. So that's how we know how it works.
Wow.
If I push it, it's not going off.
No, because you can't summon yourself. It
requires the fingerprint of a jackass. It's like,
wow.
I would never set it off.
How are you doing, Brad?
Okay.
Well, like I said, I got everything off my chest last night. Didn't want to do Dawson tonight because it would have been rushed. I didn't get his information anyway till later on in the afternoon. But I'd rather have him on at 8:00, open the next Saturday show.
You might want to do that. We give us a little more runway to prep for that.
Yeah, and I don't like. I'm trying to get out of the rushing things. You know, a lot of times I do things on the spur when an idea hits my head. I'm trying to get out of that and kind of like plan things out and do things a little bit further ahead. Doesn't always work out, but you know, these are the things I have control over. I wonder. I got to do some research on what's going on with Twitter because we are not broadcasting on Twitter, and they warned us when you come in the StreamYard. It actually warned you that they're having an issue with Twitter, so it's not me. I don't know I hope it's not something permanent because I'm not the biggest fan of Twitter, but I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers / listeners come to us directly from Twitter, and I don't want to rob them of the sound of my voice. You know what I mean? All right. So, Olympics is over with. AHA number 2, Alphaville And then number 3, like I said, I only know that one. Like I said, I think that one song from them, but with it, but the combined, you can make an argument, but Iran and Take on Me are like equal hits, but for me, Take on Me was just a much more Titanic hit than that one. It just grew on me more. I mean, but Iran, that song is like historic too. I mean, it's even on Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I think it is. So that's their biggest hit though. So yeah, I would have to go with Aha. Cox barely works. That was just yeah. Here we go. Yeah. There's no plural when I'm talking about the thing that you're talking about though. There will never be plural when it talks to me. So we're just a bunch of asshole Spaceballs. That's probably the most non-memorable movie I've ever watched, to the point where I can't remember anything from it because I tried to force it out of my head. I just never liked that movie, even though there's a lot of stuff. That movie's star laden. It has Tuvok in it, Combing the Beach, but it's in my top 10 dumbest movies. It's up there with Dudes, Where's My Car? It's up there for different reasons.
You cannot possibly be serious.
No, I'm dead serious.
Cannot possibly be serious.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. You got to remember, we and you have two different sensibilities when it comes to movie. You go see that slapstick bullshit. I can't.
Now we've definitively determined like which of the two of us can push the button and make it work. And it ain't me.
It is you. I mean, you like Mystery Men. I think it's absolute smoldering trash. I mean, it's different. Listen,
Slater would have taken the place of the boys.
I think it would have bombed. I think it would have got even more people fired.
The hell it would.
I think that would have been Howard the Duck of the late 2000s. Whereas,
okay, Williams like came on hungover or something.
No, I don't drink. So Mystery Men is an awful movie.
Off the wagon then or something, because that
you have to be on the wagon to fall off the wagon.
Got onto it and then fell off immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think these movies are stupid. I feel the same way about movies like that as you do Scary Movie for your reasons that you don't have to defend. I don't have to defend why I don't. I think Mystery Men is absolute trash. I think that Spaceballs, I mean, maybe because at that time I was heavily into Star Wars and I was kind of defensive of it, and I looked at dumb parodies like they were dumb parodies. Same thing with Star Trek. I would rather get kicked in the balls by a donkey than watch Galaxy Quest ever again. I'm not going to. I don't like that movie.
It's the 7th best Star Trek movie. It's not me talking. It's a poll.
Look who takes the poll. Yeah.
Those fans do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you are not familiar with Star Trek fandom, you might buy into a poll actually meaning something. But if you understand us, that don't mean shit. Okay. No, I'm just not into those type of movies. And I'm not a big spoof man, just like you. I'm not a spoof movie either. The only time I watch those spoof movies is when we were trying to raise money for AFSP. That's it. I wouldn't like elect to be like, oh, let's watch Meet the Spartans. Movie's fucking horrible. Okay, I wouldn't watch. What's the other scary movie? I wouldn't watch any of those. But for the fact that we were raising money, I can't stand them. I mean, you are a little bit more passionately against them than I am, but they're a waste of my time too. And I put
a waste of oxygen is what they are.
I put Mystery Men. I put Dudes, Where's My Car? I put Galaxy Quest. I put all those things in that category for me because it's all about individual taste. It's what entertains you. I think that's what gets lost in the argument when it comes to movie. Everybody thinks there's a right and wrong answer. It's not. How does it make you feel? And those movies feel like whenever I did get conned into seeing them, usually it was with the military because I was with a group. It was like, well, damn, at least I can fall back on the fact that I have to be here. There's really no choice. Let's see. Aaron with a hockey question. The Australian with a hockey question. How about that? Question: why is a hockey puck black? Why don't they have it another color like bright orange red? Because vulcanized rubber is naturally black, I guess, for one. Two, on a white background, black is the highest contrast. So you could at least, the players would be able to see it. The problem with having it any other color beyond black, you have red lines, you have different color lines. You have blue creases, you have all kinds of things that might conflict with that. But and be closer to color. But I think black is because it's vulcanized rubber is naturally black, and it's black is the easiest color to see. Back in the late 90s, when they were trying to get people to watch hockey, they they made the puck glow. So they digitally put a light or a glowing halo around the puck so you could see it move, because that was the biggest complaint amongst people who did not or not familiar with the sport, is that it was moving too fast and they couldn't see the puck. That was kind of like today. That shot that Jack Hughes shot was so fast, I couldn't see it in the camera work. By the way, Olympics, dude, it's the Olympics. You got 4 years to plan. That was a horrible camera angle. That was horrible camera work. But under most circumstances, the average hockey person, they didn't understand the rules. They didn't understand the flow of the game. So when Fox had the NHL, they put the glow puck, what's called the glow puck, so that the average person could see it. It annoyed a lot of purists, but me, I always want whatever I'm watching to grow. So I didn't mind. I didn't mind it, but yeah, it's the hockey puck on its own is one of the hardest things to track because it's going so fast. But yeah, when it's when you have bad camera angles, it didn't help. But yeah, I hope I answered your question, Aaron. I enjoyed Predator Badlands watching at home better than the theaters. A lot of people are starting to say that about a lot of movies, and there's no way around that. Some people just prefer the home. Some people just prefer,
watch. Kind of amazing. The thing again, for being like a movie, like the first one from like the Predators perspective, it's I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it's from the Predators perspective, and yet it doesn't. It literally. It's like figuratively from the Predator's perspective, and that the literal side of it that we only like at the beginning see just quick little scene from with the infrared vision. So it's like for I don't know, I found that kind of interesting, where it's like it's the first Predator is a hero one, but the infrared vision, maybe that was intentional, where it's like they felt like he's
for story reasons and practicality, that would have bugged the shit out of people having to look at it through infrared. That's why you couldn't tell it from his story in the original ones. But if you were going to tell it, they wrote in a reason of why, because that would have been annoying. That would have been like subtitles for people. I would have turned people off, So yeah, I think they made.
They show a little bit at the beginning.
They do, but it's not the majority of the movie. Yeah, it's like Schindler's List. Schindler's List starts out in subtitles, but they are clearly talking English, even though there is no English speaking people in where this movie takes place. They had to do that so that, because as in, you're making this movie primarily for American audiences, we don't like subtitles entirely throughout the movie. They'll take a couple of them, but if you don't start talking English, people will not go see it. That's why you see so many remakes, that there's nothing wrong with the movie. They have to make it, they have to Americanize it, because American audiences, the bulk of them, the ones that you need to support us, they won't go see that shit. It's kind of sad, because I hate seeing dubbed. Dubbed is awful, dude. You try to get like, I was trying to get Korean serial killer movies and stuff, and this was back in when you had to download the SRT track, and because it would come dubbed for America, and it just ruined the experience. So, but yeah, there's a lot of people that are that like to watch movies at home over the theaters. That might be a cycle that might pass, but I don't know. How you doing, Danny, man? The Paralympics start this weekend. Yeah, in Milan, Italy. Yep. I might watch that too, because I watched it about 4 years ago, and I found myself rather entertained by that. I'm just a sports fanatic, though, so that's probably my issue. I'm glad I don't bet. I would lose my ass. A Flock of Seagulls had big hits at Space Age Love and Just Wishing Age. I don't connect. I can't. Irrational. If I heard those songs, I would probably be like, oh yeah. But when I think of Flock of Seagulls, I think of Iran. I ran all day. I mean, I that's automatic what I think about. I don't know if Aha had any other hits besides Take on Me and More Than Meets the Eyes. I know they were bigger in Europe than they ever were here. They had that one hit. People call them a one-hit wonder, but yeah, one hit here. By the way, I grew up in the 80s. The 80s was littered with one-hit wonders. I want you to look up a song called Come On, Irene by Dexy and the Midnight Runners. All right? Song came out in the early 80s. Come on, Eileen. I want you to look up Safety Dance. You can dance if you want to. That one, One Hit Wonder by Men Without Hats. You know what those cats are doing today while I'm sitting here talking to you? They're performing those songs somewhere for a lot of money. They've added those. Dude, the Safety Dance has been mixed with techno. You know, I mean, both of those songs have been mixed with Come On, I mean, mixed with techno and ska, because I was one of the original ska bands. People make fun of one-hit wonders. Guess what? Most people who pick up a guitar or any other musical instruments will never have a hit. They won't even have it one. So if you think of that one-hit wonder that had one hit, and there's album compilations, you can get them to one-hit wonders. You remember whatever happened to this guy? I'm like, you know what? That guy can pick up or gal or group can pick up a guitar, get in a drum kit, and a bass, and take a microphone and go somewhere and probably get some people to go see them. If you're doing what you love doing for money and you're making a living out of it, even if you're not Taylor Swift, if you're just Joe Nobody who had a hit back in 81, people still looking. Listen, New Kids on the Block who make my eyes water as far as disdain. I'm like, this is the ultimate boy band. They ain't doing anything. I don't even know if they're singing or dancing. This is whatever. You know, I was on a completely different road. Those fools are getting back together, and guess what? Those MILFs, they're bringing their daughters. And they've been around long enough. There might be some granddaughters involved in there. They ain't had a hit in 30 years. So, yeah, one-hit wonders. A lot of these groups are Flock of Seagulls, I don't know of their other hits, but I know of that one. And Aha had a couple of them. But, yeah, I didn't even notice Spider-Man Homecoming, their song. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that was in that movie I watched the other day. I watched Spider-Man Homecoming the other day, and it felt like a different movie. The Boys is turning out as bad as Mr. Man. I didn't hate the last season. I thought that Anthony Starr shined. Euphemism. I didn't think that the supporting story did anything for me. I'm not the biggest fan of The Boys, but I'm a bigger fan of the show than I ever was the comic. I thought the comic was dreadful. I know a lot of people are going to throw hate at me. I didn't like it. I mean, I read it as it came out. I sold it as it came out, and I was like, okay. It's like Invincible. Never been a big fan of Invincible. But I thought this last season of The Boys was the weakest of the series, in my opinion. So, but Mystery Men, I can't put Mystery Men in that cat. I can't put Mystery Men in the category of anything I would consider being good. I can't. You know, Brad. If Brad wants to shit on his credibility and put those two in the same category, that is. Oh yeah, sure. You're up here putting up mystery men in the same category as boys. And
again, it comes out 10 years late. 10 years later. Not only is it a hit, we don't get The Boys in that timeline. We get Mystery Men in that timeline. Mystery Man becomes the phenomenon in that timeline because Mystery Man's doing the same things The Boys did way earlier.
No,
corporate superheroes.
I think Watchmen
superheroes.
I think Watchmen getting done had more of an effect on that because Watchmen
is not like a black comedy though.
No, but neither is The Boys. The Boys is not a comedy.
No, The Boys
is not a comedy.
Undercurrent of dark.
It's
humor.
Dark, but it's not. It's no way, shape, or form meant to be.
The Boys is it's like satirical in the same way like RoboCop is.
Yeah, but you can't put that in the same category as Mystery Men, which is a literally a comedy. I think Watchmen, 2008, 2009, had a bigger impact on putting the anti-hero on screen. More, I don't even think Mystery Men was a thought when it came to The Boys.
Because it came out before we're getting 3 to 5 Marvel and DC movies every year. Their timing was clearly off, way off.
I need to have a CAT scan done on you to figure out what's bouncing around in that empty space.
Ask any box office. There's nobody who follows these trends who would disagree with me. Sorry.
Fine. What the fuck? Did you sniff? Lower the camera. Is there a pile of white powder in front of you right now?
No. See? Nothing.
You must have it somewhere else. You have it somewhere else. You must have done the whole pile before the show.
No, I didn't. I'm clean. I
What the fuck? Anyway, William, which era of George Michael do you like? Do you mean to say David Bowie? I before I answer that, Anthony, I think you got the wrong flamboyant person in your head. Okay. How late? Okay, I'm gonna answer this. With George Michael, I was not the hugest fan. I wasn't the market for him. I appreciated his voice and his talent. But I never, there was nothing about Wham or anything he did single that really, I appreciated him as an artist, and he died way too young. If you're asking me about David Bowie, I'm in a pretty precarious position because I wasn't old enough to really appreciate him as Ziggy Stardust. But the very first David Bowie song that I heard that I attached to David Bowie was Let's Dance. And that was in his Tall Thin Duke era. So he'd already done the hair dye and the Ziggy Stardust and all the other Young American, all that stuff was already done. And it was because of his mastery over MTV is that I found out who he was. And obviously you guys know from many times that we've put on the show, when he sat down and Mark Goodman was sacrificed to him like a lamb, a tribute. When it came to race and MTV, he could have sung Old MacDonald, and I would have listened to it. But I am always going to connect with the 1980s era of David Bowie more than anything. And now, as I grew older and grew up, I obviously Man Who Fell to Earth, all those other things, I appreciated those. But the impact for me is always going to be, Let's Dance. Put on your red shoes and dance with me. That was even he I think him and Madonna lengthened their careers by being able to adapt to what was ever going on around them. But if you look at when Madonna first hit the stage in '84, and as the music scene changed, she changed. She stayed relevant for a long time. And David Bowie, he died when he was 69 years old. But had he lived, he would have continued. He continued to do the same thing. You look, and when he died, there was all these pictures of him, right, from the beginning all the way up until his death. It was like watching 10 different people in 10 different eras. So I'm gonna go. If you're asking me that question about David Bowie, I'm gonna go with the Tall Thin Duke era. I remember that song. Oh, Mickey. Aaron, William, do you think one of the reasons why Canada lost was because of them not training there in Vegas after the game? I'm coming. Okay, is it me or some of your guys' questions? Let me reread this, Aaron. William, do you think one of the reasons why Canada lost was because of them not training there in Vegas after the game? No, I thought they lost to a better team. I thought they lost to a better team today when it came to NHL players. Listen, most of these guys are on each other's teams when they come back to the States. And when you split down the talent, we have, there was a time where 60 to 70% of all your stars in hockey were all Canada. You had some American, it's a Canadian sport. However, over the last maybe 8 to 12 years, we're getting a lot more guys like Jack Hughes, Kachucks. All those guys are all the homegrown talent, because what's happened, and you can thank Wayne Gretzky for this, is he put hockey in the markets where there wasn't hockey before, when it was completely a Canadian dominated sports, and people from Arizona, people were playing hockey. We have a hockey team, a college hockey team out here in Vegas when it's 114 degrees. We have a team out here in Vegas that's won a Stanley Cup. So when you are exposed to those markets, kids are watching it. American kids are watching it, and they're taking up hockey in places that are not Detroit, Chicago, New York, and Colorado. So I think the homegrown talent that are Americans now has matched, and if not surpassed, what Canada has. William, hypothetically, if both here you go, Anthony. Let me tell you, hypothetically, both Doomsday and Secret Wars don't perform as expected at the box office for Marvel. Do you think they changed their plans completely? No. Two, I don't think that's going to happen. But to answer your question, if it were being hypothetical, no, they're not DC from 2013 to 2021. They've invested into this plan. They made their one change, and they did it early enough to not have it, be as disruptive. And that's when they shifted from Kang primarily and went to Doom. But they had done that at a point where it didn't matter what they were doing. Whereas you're talking about doing something in mid stride. That's just something that Marvel hasn't done. That's a DC panic thing. DC would find a way to listen to the wrong people and fuck themselves out of a victory. Marvel has never done that. They make adjustments. They don't do the panic stepping. So no. I figured. I got it. I figured. I mean, I didn't mind talking about George Michael, but I figured it's David Bowie that you were talking about because Ziggy Stardust was a dead giveaway. But like I said, David Bowie will go down in history as one of my favorite humans in entertainment, not just music. Like I said, I think I was 9. I was 8 or 9 when I saw when we showed you that. I don't know if we were able to show you that, Dad. They think I had to read the transcript and have it on the screen, but I was watching that. I was watching that because that was live. And that's why you guys got to see that, because it was David Bowie being interviewed live, I believe. So they couldn't do a delay, or they couldn't cut it up. Either that, or they didn't have the balls to cut it up, because David Bowie would have been like, "You cut up my interview. I'll never do another interview with you again." David Bowie had a lot of power and leverage in the early 80s. He had a lot of credibility, especially as pop was starting to get visually integrated and MTV was merging hip hop, rock, and all these things. David Bowie was all over that. David Bowie would, if black people wrote David Bowie songs, David Bowie made sure you knew it. Little Richard was one of Little Richard wrote a lot of songs that he didn't get credit for that a lot of other people sang. Guys like David Bowie and Mick Jagger made sure you knew who those guys were. So yeah, I knew who you met, but I figured I was wondering if you were talking about, are you getting your Englishman? Everything She Wants. That was a massive. My sister with the big way. She went to the concert. My sister with the huge Wham. I thought they were. Once I saw "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go," I was done with Wham. There was never going to be a connection between me and Wham with the pink shorts and the Wham. Oh Jesus! And that hair. Oh my goodness, that hair. Come On Eileen was and probably still is Bar Club. Yeah, I hear it. I hear it every now and then. They have one hit. And I love, where is Dexy? I gotta look them up. Because they have made, they've had them made millions of Midnight Runners. Well, I wonder what they're doing now. I wonder if they're all still alive, for one. Let's look them up. All right, they're called Dexys now. but their official name is Dexys Midnight Runners from 1978 to 2011. Are a British pop band in Birmingham with soul influences. So Dexys Mark 1. Let's see. They reunion. They broke up a little bit. A lot of bands do that. Let's see where they're at now. All right, on March 22, 2025, the band announced the release of a double CD, 3 LP live album. They appeared in Glastonbury Music Festival, so they're still performing. They are still making money, and that's all. You think of that them. That is their one hit. That is their one hit, and they are still doing it. Their latest release is The Feminine Divine, and that's the one that they went on tour for. Let's see. yeah, I mean, like I said, if you get one hit, you can make your living off of one hit. I like Madonna's older stuff, Borderline Days. That was her debut stuff. When she came out with Papa Don't Preach. Well, that was the era, dude. Papa Don't Preach was massive. That was 1986. That was her biggest. That was the year that she busted through from being like a virgin, and being a hit. Hey, that's a catchy tune on the song. Papa Don't Preach and that 1986 album, and then Live to Tell, I think was on that album. That's when she married Sean Penn. Live to Tell. By the way, it's a movie called At Close Range. You want to watch an underrated movie that is intense and low-key violent? At Close Range with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. Anything that Christopher Walken, I'm sorry, didn't do enough movies, in my opinion. Christopher Walken needed to do more stuff. And all you need to watch is the Prophecy movies. The Prophecy 2 is a horrible movie. It's bad. Okay, it's really, really bad. But Christopher Walken's in it. You got to watch it.
His greatest performance, Joe Dirt. Hey, you're talking to me all wrong. It's wrong tone. Okay. Do it again. I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
I don't even feel like wasting the buzzer on that comment. Yeah. But hey, Christopher Walken in a Prophecy, he's an angel, right? He's Archangel. He hates humans, but guess what? Guess where that Archangel wants to have been born and raised? Brooklyn. Because he's great. He is great in that movie. He's great in The Deer Hunter. He's great in King of New York. But yeah, he did At Close Range. That was a big hit for her. And then like a Prayer. I mean, it was just going from there. But that era you're talking about only lasted about a year. Fourth. I was trying to say after the game, I had you coming into my head. They should have come home. Okay. Yeah, well, they were in Milan, so I got you. Let's see. Dan, somebody told me the Chicago Bears might relocate. Yeah, that's a proposal on the table. I can't believe they're going to do that. I can't believe they're going to. I mean, it's Indiana. It's the part of Indiana. Hammond is not that far from Chicago. Chicago's such a sports town. I just can't see that happening. I can. You know why? Because guess who the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco? They play in, where was that Super Bowl held at? That was something Dale, and it was 49ers. How many minutes is they're in damn near San Jose? Santa Clara. They're in Santa Clara. Hold on. 49ers. Okay. They are the San Francisco 49ers. They played at Candlestick forever. They play at Levi Stadium. That's in Santa Clara. How far? It's the 8th most populous city in the Bay Area, located in Southern Bay. Let's see. That's pretty far away from San Francisco. Let's see. How far is Santa Clara from San Francisco? All right. So you're talking 52 minutes away, man. That's not too bad, but that's not downtown. That's quite a ways. And it's the same thing with the Jets and the Giants. The New York Jets and the New York Giants play in New Jersey. So I could easily see them moving. Now, how far is Hammond, Indiana? How far is Hammond, Indiana? And from Chicago, look, a bunch of people have already typed it in. That's only 36 minutes. That's not too bad, but it's a different state. It's not even, but if they don't get the stadium deal, listen, it's the NFL, man. You got to have luxury boxes. The Soldier Field is old. Soldier Field was literally built as a tribute. When was Soldier Field built? How old is Soldier Field? Soldier Field Stadium, Chicago. When was that built? All right. Soldier Field is historically referred to as Soldier Field. Was built in 1924. Okay, it has served as the Bears' home since 1971 for over 50 years. So yeah, it's time for a new stadium. William and Brad, if SAG strike happens, what films do you think will move dates? I don't want to think. Why? I don't want to think about that again. That just makes my brain hurt. I don't. Well, you asked me this last night, and I got to keep consistent with that answer. I don't know if any of them move. Yes, they will be hurt by.
Yeah, there were a lot that didn't move the last time. They just couldn't do press for them.
Yeah, like the bigger ones, like Dune moved, but I don't think Dune's going to do that again because of what happened last time. I don't know, man. I don't have a good answer for you, Rational, because I don't know. I have a feeling that this one's going to last long, but I don't know if we want to hurt the industry. Because here's the thing: if that one lasted almost 8 months, 7 to 8 months, you're talking about things that will kill the theater. This will help. This will definitely help, because if there's not new movies going on, where are we going to get their new entertainment? They're going to get it from streaming. So this will be, if there is a impending death of the theater, which I think is over exaggerated, this would hasten it. So I don't know. I think I would hope, even if there's a strike, they put these movies out. You know, some of them don't necessarily need. I mean, do you need a press junket to go see a Marvel movie? No.
I think they'd rather have one like Doomsday, though.
Huh?
Well, I think they'd rather have one for something, on the scale of Doomsday.
Yeah, but are you gonna? You're gonna delay it beyond December? I mean, because if you take it out of December,
well, I think I'd also like the further into the year it is. I mean, the further, if a strike happened like tomorrow, the further in the year that it is, I mean, the better chance it has of like staving off like any effects of the strike. So.
It depends. I mean, it could say depending on the length of the strike. It's all. Because now you're talking about, if you move it from December, what are you going to do? Put it in May?
I mean, they might. I mean, they put plenty of Marvel movies out in May.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what they wanted to do, because now you have to push the other people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but there's tons of things you don't want to do that you have to do.
I say they don't do it. I say they don't do it. I say if there is a strike, I say the big bangers go off without a hitch. Now, some of these smaller movies that you need to put the word out about, some of this A24 shit, maybe, or Focus or something like that, that you really need to get to know the people. Yeah, I know who Robert Downey Jr. is. I know who Chris Evans is. I know Captain America is. I know who Spider-Man. I know it. Now, it would suck. It's not optimum, but I mean, I don't know if you want to disrupt your flow. Is that really gonna? Is that going to be the difference between making a movie?
Whoever's got Scary Movie 6, if we do have a strike, you want to move that, 10, 12 years down the road. That's. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to hold it against you. So I'm just saying, come on.
Ice hockey has
Batgirl. If we get a strike, it's like, I mean, come on. It's like nobody's going to do the savvy tears about that. Just do that. Come on.
That's the kind of movie you would have to move, because it's not going to have that kind of star power. Ice hockey has selectors when it comes to international games. Yeah. The International Olympic Committee chooses it, but in the NHL's case, the NHL, they take NHL players are the ones doing it this year. So there's no selection project. There's a selection from like certain teams, but it's still the IOC that does it. I'm gonna say any new I have some Vertigo stuff that I meant to go over last night, but we went over. There's a couple of Vertigo things that came out. There's some stuff in Boom Studio. Anytime Boom Studios comes out with a #1 issue, pick it up. As far as movies goes, I mean, we're doing, I think, Project Hail Mary in a couple of weeks. I just found that out, that we are doing the promo. That's coming out. It's been pretty quiet on the music front. This is the hardest time of the year for movies, because they don't really put out a lot. They just don't, for some reason, March is when you start getting your movies and your things are ramping up for spring, and then summer, then fall, then Christmas. But the dead time of year, there's really not a lot coming out that I have piqued my interest. Comic book wise, like I said, I have some stuff on the shelf, but I can't think of it right now of things that I didn't do my recommendations this year or this week, so I'm behind. Next watch party should be. We did Monarch, right? We did watch parties for Monarch, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. So Monarch is this week. Monarch is this week. So I think it's the 27th. Monarch is in 5 days, so I will have to schedule Monarch. Monarch.
Daredevil coming up.
That's next month, is it?
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Is it March? I think Daredevil Born Again season 2 is in March.
That is. It's further away than I thought. It's March 24th.
Yeah, that will be one we do. Hopefully it keeps me going. But yeah, so those are the two. As far as movies and stuff goes, I haven't really settled.
Well, yeah, like I said, again, like I said, so much of what I'm looking forward to this year is just so lopsided. It's like the further we get into this year, like the more of what I'm anticipating is actually coming about. Although I will say, let me look up real quick if it's on digital yet, because Send Help. I actually dug that, and apparently that at like I need to look at like how it did this weekend, but like weekend 3, because which was the previous weekend, it dropped like about 0.9%, like a really big drop. So it's having some legs.
How much has it made total?
And
by the way, if you're gonna keep a movie in the theaters more than 2 weeks, this is the time of year to do it.
So it cost 40, right? So far, it's done 83.
All right, so it's
yeah, it wasn't like a Spider-Man budget that he.
It's a moderate success.
Yeah, and let me look on the So, in sophomore weekend, it dropped 48%. Okay, so it opened to 19.1. So it opened number 1 weekend 1. On sophomore weekend, the film dropped 48%, earning $10 million. This is the kicker. In its third weekend, the film dropped just 0.08% gross. Yeah, that is crazy. It really held on there in its third weekend.
But we're not talking about something that made 120 million 1 week and then had.
I think
there's not a far drop either. You know what I mean? It's not like.
But it's I think that's just a case like the word of mouth kind of spreading on it, because I went, even though it was like Sam Raimi like going back to doing something like a horror black comedy. I went into it like curiosity. I wasn't like I wasn't like my super high on my like anticipated list, but it's like, okay, it's Raimi. It's like I'll see what he's he's going back to his kind of I don't know if I'd say this is going back to his Evil Dead roots, but it's going back to his horror roots, definitely.
When I see numbers like that, I don't know how if I could call that a success as far as like the type of money that these studios like to make in volume. It's not a failure, obviously, but it's like word of mouth. $80 million bucks.
It doesn't, because I'm looking at Amazon right now. It doesn't have like a pre-order date or anything. So it's I'm sure they got their.
But here's the thing, though. This movie, this wouldn't fly in May. This wouldn't fly in June or July or December. It flew because of the time of year. That there's nothing. What's it up against? Not in people. This is probably your least traffic time of the year when it comes to movies. So it's that.
Okay, no, this is okay. This is interesting. I just Google. Right now it's like Google saying it's like it's digital purchase. And this is like a rough estimate kind of thing. It's like March 31st, streaming on Hulu, Disney Plus, expected around May 1st. So. I thought it'd be. I didn't expect it to bomb, but I thought it'd be like a quicker turnaround than that from like theaters to home media and digital. So
it just didn't. Like I said, I actually saw it.
Oh, you did see it?
Yeah, I did see it because I was.
You didn't mention that to me, man.
No, I was when I was at the meeting because we're setting up Tromania, and I have because I've rented out the theater so many times. I got a bunch of a bunch of free movies now. So I had some time to kill before I met with the staff, and I saw it because Sam Raimi. It's all right. It was like on the middle. No, it was the middle of the week.
You need to say on the show. You didn't tell me like you've seen it, because I was talking about my thoughts on it.
It wasn't remarkable. It wasn't something like
I really dug it, because it's like for those of you who haven't seen it, it's basically Rachel McAdams. She's the employee of this like big financial firm, and she's kind of socially awkward.
Really, science fiction, horror, fantasy.
It is so horror.
It's not that type of horror.
and it's violent
It's like
as hell.
Misery. Well, yeah, and it escalates in the third act. It's kind of,
Oh, big time.
there's some
So-
people that you think that are going to hang around for a little bit that don't hang around for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, so she's
There's no sequel. Well, maybe.
Yeah, there's reasons for that are you have to see to understand, but
Unless she gets on a plane and they'll play the plane again. But I don't
well,
know.
so she's this employee at this big like financial firm, and she's been there a long time. Really, kind of she's model employee, but she's also kind of socially awkward. She's a little
fucking
bit
crazy. is what she is.
well, yeah, but that doesn't that isn't initially established. That kind of becomes a little bit later on, but so she gets passed over for this promotion, and then her douchebag boss. they've got this merger going on with their company, and they got to fly to Thailand for it. So she's kind of not happy with not getting the promotion. She says, "Okay, come along with us, and like we'll."
Which is what I didn't understand that, by the way.
Well, I think it was him just like, okay, well, like have her like fill out paperwork for us on this because it's like it's because they really mistreat her.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want her anywhere near me. This is a fucking movie, dude.
But you don't know that till late in like early on. She's really simple.
But the way they are to her at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere with her. The way they treated her, I mean, they badmouth her. I mean, the way they talk to her, it's like
the whole thing on the plane, which I won't go into, but there's something that happens on the plane. If that had been me on the plane, like with the kind of,
I'd opened up the door and let them fly out.
No, I would have like as soon as that plane lands, I'm telling them, okay, guys, here's my resignation. I'm hopping on a plane and getting home because I'm not sticking around a place where I'm this not valued. But so anyway, the plane crashes on the way to Thailand. She and the boss survive, and what happens is the tables kind of flip on them because she's a big fan of Survivor, so she has she's got a lot of
has Survivor skills, and they don't.
She's able to you pull like cast the Tom Hanks and Castaway, but do it like at the drop of a hat, and he isn't. So the dynamic between them kind of flips, and so and the thing what was really kind of interesting about it is that again it's the whole like concept of people being shipwrecked, but now it's kind of flipping it around where it's asking the question like, well, what if your life, like if this happened to you, like what if your life when you go back home, what if it's not that great? What if you're like, what if you get stranded on an island?
You're getting into spoilery territory,
and you think like, well, I mean, it's like this is kind of an upgrade for me.
Yeah, so you might want to stop there.
I'll leave it at that.
Because,
but
because that mentality leads to.
I dug it quite a lot, and William's talking about it. It's like she's. See, I came out of it thinking of her as like she's a likable psychopath, because that
bitch is crazy. I mean, what she does, there's a line that's crossed, and I'll leave it there.
That's what I say.
Likable is not what I would describe her as.
Well,
maybe you can empathize with her because if any of you have been treated like shit at your jobs, but there's a certain line where it's like, okay,
that's where I say when the psychopath and Rachel McAdams, like she's so great in this. It's like
she carries the movie, but
this is like she's so like graduated from like Regina George. Now she's like again.
But give it all fairness, I don't really watch her in a lot of shit. So, for a movie that I didn't pay for, I thought it was all right.
I had a lot of fun with it. And
I didn't talk about. I that was it. Once I saw it, there was like that was the thing.
And for what William's talking about, like the Misery comparison again, you kind of need to see it to understand what he's getting at there, because that does go a little bit spoilers, but. Again, that's the thing I found. The two things that this is sort of the foundation of it that I found really interesting that Raimi does. Like the idea of like if you get shipwrecked, but what if your life back home is shit? Like, well, what if this feels like it's actually a step up for me?
Stop.
And then the other one,
you're gonna start giving shit away, man.
And then the other one, the idea that if I'm of just not being valued by people who. You contribute to their establishment or their work, and the idea of like just the idea of not being valued for your contributions, like those two themes really are kind of the foundation of Send Help, and I'll just leave it at that for those of you who haven't seen it.
But 80 million is about what it was. That's pretty good for that. But I didn't. But they released it at a time where there's nothing going on in movie theaters. So
it's like the very very tail end. I mean January 30th, so it's practically released in February. But
which is what I call the graveyard of movie releases. Answer your question, Dan, man. The NHL feels was way more mainstream in the era of Wayne Gretzky. Bobby Hull and Brett Hull, Mario Lemieux, and Jaromir Jagr.
Right back.
Only one of those names qualifies. Without Gretzky, you don't have anything. No matter how good Bobby Hull was, no matter how good Mario Lemieux was, no matter how good Mario or Jaromir Jagr played for 7,000 years. I think he played like till he was fucking 60, and I'm not kidding. Bobby Hull. I think you met Bobby. I know you met Bobby Hull. Wayne Gretzky's move or trade from Edmonton to LA in 1988, after he had just won his fourth Stanley Cup with Edmonton, was the biggest move in hockey history. Because you were talking about the greatest player in the game, the MVP, 9-time MVP of that time, who had just won his fourth Stanley Cup in a 5-year period. He won in 83, 84, 87, and 88. And they had built a great team around him. They actually won another cup without him in 1990 when he was traded. You're talking about trading the greatest player, the most recognizable names in sports, to the West Coast. Well, remember, there were no Anaheim Ducks at the time. They had just been, there was no Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks, those teams didn't come around to early to mid 90s. There was no Vegas, there wasn't any of this stuff. And when Wayne Gretzky came out here, and in 1993 they made a run to the Stanley Cup, that showed the NHL that the West Coast was a viable place, not only to expand with teams, but to expand in viewership. So that was big. These other players were great Hall of Famers, but they didn't bring the glow. They didn't bring the notoriety to the game that grew the game. That's why, even though other players have won more Stanley Cups than Wayne Gretzky, I think he deserves. He has something more than any of those, because Mark Messier has 6 Stanley Cups, but he wasn't to the game what Wayne Gretzky was. Gordie Howe had like 10. I mean, you had people that were great players, but when you're talking about the person who grew, it's the same thing with the NBA. Nobody was watching the NBA in the late 70s or in early 80s. It wasn't until Magic and Bird hit the scene, because of that NCAA game the year before. They were airing the NBA Finals on tape delay. Once those two got in and drove that rivalry, they created the foundation of that the 80s was built on. And you don't have the Jordan era, because you don't have a relevant NBA leading into the 90s without that. And then everything else blew up. Same thing with Wayne Gretzky, but Wayne Gretzky did it by himself for hockey. So yeah, he has it became mainstream with Wayne Gretzky because people just didn't know what hockey was. They knew who he was because he was that guy. But in LA, shit, we had to teach people what hockey was in 1988. So yeah.
I mean, fourth is like, no, it's not a Physical Media yet.
Still in the movie theater.
Yeah. Yes. And it's a Physical Media, like always. Like that's like a month at least after digital release now. It's not out on that yet. Okay. Here's what. This is what I'll tell you. Like, this is one scene I'll describe.
Don't. It's really hard. This movie's not very difficult to spoil. It's really not hard to spoil.
When they first get to the island, like he's got like he's got like a broken leg, so she's like setting up like this hut and everything, and rounding up supplies and getting like distilled water for them. And he makes this comment to her. It's like, hey, don't forget like who's your boss is. And she like, oh, really? And then she like vanishes on him for like a day and a half. And he can't move because he's got this broken leg. So he's stuck lying there expecting her to come back. And he really starts panicking because he can't go, he can't eat, he can't drink it. And then finally she comes back and that, again, that's kind of a lot of the dynamic between them is where it's like they early on in the movie, she's just constantly being belittled and looked down upon in the office, and when they get to the island, it's like it totally flips on them, where like she's the one who like knows what she's doing here because she's so into Survivor, and he's kind of at her mercy now. So
Yeah, she
And
actually had practiced skills and shit too. So
yeah,
she
yeah.
actually
Well, they're laughing at her. Well, okay, that's well, that's not a spoiler. I don't think that the laughing the one on the plane. That's not a spoiler.
well, that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
As a movie fan in general, William, who is the greatest singer to become an actor? Okay, so music and singers that I like, maybe, or in general, because Cher won an Academy Award for Moonstruck, and she's a great actress. I think Lady Gaga has the potential. She's just got to get in some good movies. House of Gucci.
I won't hold Joker Folly Do against her.
No, I don't. That was a bad idea. I don't hold House of Gucci. She got nominated for House of Gucci, and I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, but she's on that road. So who singers that I mean, technically, Frank Sinatra from Here to Eternity.
He doesn't get as much attention. Well, I think more recently, he kind of is on this side of his career. But Keanu Reeves is also, he's in his band, Rockstar. Yeah, so that's kind of because he's been on tour with them a lot more recently. So that's kind of getting more recognition now. That kind of like the fact that he's both a musician and
But are you talking about people that but he's not primarily a musician. Yeah, that's like what's his face? Jared Leto, 30 Seconds to Mars. He's primarily Jared Leto. You know what I mean? I mean, but, that's a tough question because
people are going to read it so many different ways.
Listen, when I talk about Jared Leto, I'm not talking about the other stuff. I'm just talking about his
the way you phrase that. I'm like, oh, somebody's like watching that right now. It's like primarily Jared Leto. Well, you can spin that like so many different ways, and that's what
he is in the band that's been Grammy nominated.
A position on like, I mean, if he did it or not, it's just
yeah. He's been in a Grammy nominated band, so I can't really. So I'd say Jared Leto's up there, but Cher to me is the one that jumps out of my mouth really quickly. Because of the length of her career, the success of her career, the fact that she's actually good. She's not just a token. If you doubt for a second, Cher's acting ability, you need to go watch a movie called Mask. She has to go places in that movie where I did not know this singer could do. She does it. So I would have to say,
this is one William is going to be.
Then am I gonna have to ask you?
Well, you might, but I mean,
hold on.
Hold on. This is supported by the fact it's a different industry, but Jackie Chan is actually. This is actually very common among like big Hong Kong stars. A lot of them are also actually pop stars over the price. And Jackie Chan.
I don't think Anthony was asking that. I don't.
Well, it doesn't matter.
He doesn't have to Google. He doesn't. Not okay. Not somebody you have to Google to find out if they even sing.
Like you can hear him singing over like the credits
okay,
or like
that
half
is
his movie.
not
So like,
that is not
that
what
counts.
He's asking.
That 100% counts.
That is not what
That's
he's asking.
very common.
I don't know. Chat. What do you guys think? You got somebody because Brad has horrible ideas. What do you guys think?
Oh, here's a good one. Here's a really good one. Jack Black.
Once again, I primarily knew him as an actor before I knew him as anything else. See, now you got to reframe your Anthony. Are you asking who are the greatest primarily singers who have transitioned into acting? Because this if that's what you're asking me, a lot of the ones that are disqualified because they go back and forth.
Because I think maybe because of his theater background, you could also maybe make a case for Hugh Jackman, and not also because like outside of like Wolverine, like so much of his career is musicals.
Okay, I don't think that's what he was asking though. I think he's talking about people who are primarily singing. Oh, Will Smith will be the rapper, but guys like that who are primarily musicians. Okay, musicians is a word that I'll narrow it down to. You know what I mean? So I don't know. All right. We're not talking about Mortal Kombat tonight. Santa Clara.
Yeah, that's never a bad time talking about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, 1924 is when Soldier Field was built. So yeah, maybe it's time for the. William, as a hockey fan yourself, do you believe that Alexander Borkov over Solani, being Alex's, has 2 Stanley Cup and the latter? Teemu Solani has one. Teemu Solani has one with the Anaheim Ducks. He won in 07 with Anaheim. I can't say Barkov is better because Barkov was on 2 really great teams. The Panther teams that he's on are great teams. They're great in goal. They're great in defense. They're great in forward. I mean, they got people on their team, that could all be Conn Smythe winners. That 07 team their goalie Jaguar, who won the Conn Smythe in a losing effort in 03. You had some people on that team that were good, but the Florida Panthers of the last 2 years that Barkov was on were a better team. I would have to see Barkov on a team that wasn't that good in order to say he was better than Teemu Selanne. It's a team sport. I mean, Connor McDavid is one of the greatest players in the game. He doesn't have a cup, but he's probably better than some individuals that do have one. I hate to say that because I hate Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, but yeah, I don't know if the cup count counts. I think Teemu Selanne is a Hall of Famer. So yeah, I would have to say that's a draw. Now, if you're talking about Barkov was the Conn Smythe or something like that, and he was the obvious deciding factor, but I don't believe Barkov. I don't believe Barkov was the MVP in either one of those. Am I correct? Let's see. It was Florida Panthers being MVP. No, because Connor McDavid won it in 24 on a losing effort in Game 7. And then 2025 with, I think, Sam Bennett? Yeah, Sam Bennett. So if you were telling me it was a Wayne Gretzky type person that drove the team, Barkov was on a really good team. Teemu Selanne was the best person on that Ducks team. So let's see. Art the Clown will be in Scary Movie. That's fine because I'm not seeing either one of those. I'm hearing Project Hail Mary being talked about in the same way Ready Player One was. Talked about as a book. Everybody says it's a must read. Well, I'm not reading shit, so but I am going to go see the movie. I know a lot of people. Robert Meyer Burnett read the book, but I have no desire to read books anymore. Sorry. I can barely keep up with my comic book reading. I own a fucking store. That's how sad I am when it comes to time and reading. So, but no, if I go see Project Mary, the movie, I'm probably never going to read the book. So that's just, but it looks like that trailer put me on. What did I say? It reminded me of The Martian. And it was another movie. I can't remember when I reviewed that trailer that it really gave me vibes of that I really liked. It was the best aspects of The Martian. Can you remember what we were talking about that day? Because I got to go back and watch my review, but I am looking forward. Now I know we're gonna preview that movie either this week or next week. What am I don't predict absolute anymore. I am not keen enough. I mean, other than what I know, he's a serial killer. He's killing billionaires. He's like Luigi, I guess, but he doesn't get caught. So yeah, this guy is using my predictions are that it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be absolute bad. I don't think the phenomenon will ever be to what Absolute Batman #1 was, because now we're in that world for 2 years. But I'm predicting that it's going to be as consistent. I think it's going to be an easier read than Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter, because it's just going to be a raw story. But other than that, I don't have any predictions beyond that. Any interest in watching Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair on PVD? Absolutely not. I saw him. I don't know if I want to sit through that much movie. I enjoyed those movies. Those are some of my favorite Tarantino movies. I don't have any. I did had it in the movie theaters, and I had no desire to go see it then. If I watch Kill Bill, it'll be one movie at a time. I don't think I want to see. What do you think? You want to see? Can you see? Did you sit through that?
I did not.
4 hours.
I didn't get to see it. I wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to see that theatrically when I was out. So I'll definitely get the loved ones done.
A new Dracula movie. I've seen some footage from this called Dracula's, came out in theaters February 6th. Are either of you planning to see it? Not in the movies, unfortunately. I do want to see it because what I saw from it was kind of cool, but I just didn't have the time.
I don't know. I haven't been as but there have been a lot of many in the last, like in my lifetime anyway. Like most Draculas haven't really done a whole lot for me. Like I am definitely in the minority of people who like, as far as like the early 90s, like updates of the Universal monsters. I'm definitely in the minority, like prefers Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I knew that bullshit was coming from a mile away.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that is. Ugh.
Well,
you're talking about Francis Ford Coppola's 1992 Dracula.
Yeah, which that is just like
you thought Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was better than that?
Yeah, because the Dracula movie doesn't make a lick of sense.
It does. Oh, it does. It does. It has
That
a.
movie is like a tidal wave of blood and mixed in
It's
with like soliloquies about
it's a
like
fucking classic.
my,
The hell's
my
wrong with
love
you?
and yeah.
That will, but that's
five
Bram.
minutes
Listen,
in. 5 minutes in. What the hell? The cross. He stabs the cross. Like, why is the cross bleeding?
but if you read Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's a romance story. It's a vampire in it, yeah. But it's a Bram Stoker made it as a romance story.
I mean,
Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992, does have a weakness.
Yeah, the weakness is that
No.
everything is supposed to be symbolic is treated as literal in it.
That's how he wrote it. You just blame Bram Stoker for that.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is horrible.
Yeah,
in
that's
that
true.
movie.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is really. And listen, he's gone on. Yeah, he's gone on to better things. He's gotten better, but yeah.
Listen, it is biologically impossible for any human being to not love Keanu Reeves, but we all have a bad day at the office.
Yeah, that movie. I thought every performance in Bram Stoker's Dracula excelled. Gary Oldman, that might be one of his best movies. Gary Oldman is transformed in that. It's one of the things I realized. Okay, this guy can play anything you tell him to play. You say play a fucking barking dog. Gary Oldman can probably do it. What's up?
Interviewed him, by the way.
Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah. And he just gets better with every film. Obviously Anthony Hopkins is great as it's one of Winona Ryder's stronger earlier roles.
Yeah, that was during her heyday too. This was like she like late 80s, early 90s.
Pre-shoplifting.
Oh, come on. It's like we're not gonna hold that against her for like the rest of her life.
She was rich. She was rich and stealing shit. That's
yeah, but I mean, it's like you don't have. It's like no, he's perfect. Come on.
But yeah, Gary Oldman, I love the visual of Dracula. I didn't think Mary Shane Frankenstein was bad. I just didn't think it was on the level of Bram Stoker Dracula.
It's like again, I to this day.
Now, have you ever read? This is one of the few books I did.
I have not read the book. No.
Okay,
I've read.
I think you would. I think you would think a little bit differently had you could. One of the biggest frustrations about Bela Lugosi is that the more of the movies that they did with him and those type of movies, it drifted further away from what the text was.
Well, all the Universal like monsters really did. I mean, like
his was more drastic than any of them, though. Because it became more of a ghoulish type of thing than a romance type of thing. Because listen, believe it or not, it is a romance. It's a story about love. It's a love story. People don't like to realize that, but Bram Stoker wrote Dracula as a and that's one of the things that his widow really hated about Nosferatu and the fact that they didn't get their permission to use it was the fact Nosferatu is a monster movie. Dracula is a love story.
Which was the one? I think it was Dracula 2000. This actually, the Wes Craven was a part. No, see that actually had probably one of the more clever ideas. Dracula
that had cool kills. For those
of you haven't seen the idea that that Dracula was Judas. It was like and his punishment.
Yeah, and they lost me there.
No, I thought that was an awesome idea. Like his punishment punishment is that he's made.
Remember the Seventh Seal? The Seventh Seal with Demi Moore. Remember the guy who was that reminded me of that when the guy was immortal, and it was because he was a Roman guy who was stabbing Jesus. So his punishment was to walk the earth till the apocalypse. That's what that reminded me of. That premise, like, okay, come on, what are you doing? That movie had some cool kills though. There's a scene where the guy opens the door and there's a vampire there, and the vampire just splits him in like right down the middle. I'm like, okay. You get some credit for that.
That had Jerry Ryan of Star Trek.
Yeah, that movie wasn't very good, but
I guess it's kind of on the topic of like the Universal, like the updates of there's two, and they're very loosely based on the source material.
I know one of them. I know one of them you're going to say already.
Well, okay, what do you think it's going to be? Let me
Invisible Man.
Yes.
Okay. So whatever the other one is, I got a 50% shot.
Well, it's related is a Hollow Man actually, because that's not.
Yeah, it isn't, but it's the same shit. It's just with more people. It's just with more people.
Yeah. It's
and he's a rapist.
Yeah.
They went somewhere there that no other one went to, even the newer one. He actually physically, the lady with the towel, they show it. It's like kind of, but it's basically Invisible Man.
Yes, it's not officially based on the book, but I mean, it's like
Was that even was Hollow Man even Universal? I think it had to be.
Sony. Because a lot of them were like the modern versions of them have not. They weren't made. based on like Universal, but they're not.
I was Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
of course. It
and
is.
you know why that's why it's so
Yeah.
bloody and like full of sexuality, because it's like, of course, Paul Verhoeven.
There's chick
And
being
he's
there's chick being fondled. Yeah.
And he's talked about since, because that was his last American movie, and he's talked about since then. It's like, oh, that didn't feel like me. It's like that. I felt like I was just a guy for hire. It's like I didn't feel like. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like all the horrible ways people get killed in that, and the like sex element too. It's like, and you're telling me this does not feel like Paul Verhoeven? I mean,
yeah.
Again,
that's something that Paul Verhoeven's going to give guaranteed TNA.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed. You don't even need to look at the rating. Rated R for what?
If
okay,
it's on
nudity is one of them.
Bulging eyeballs.
Yeah, you're getting nudity on one of any. I don't think there's a Paul Verhoeven movie that doesn't have it.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's just outright gratuity.
Yeah,
so
there's and it's so weird because I know Chappie's talked about like hey Brad, you like the if you're like, what are your thoughts on, like Basic Instinct? It's like anytime you like pair like graphic like slasher violence with sexuality, that always is so unnerving to me. So I should, and I somewhat do have like a kind of conflicted relationship with Hollow Man because it has that side to it, but I think it's I know it's because like you've just got like the sci-fi horror angle to it of like of just watching this dude like go slow. It's not even that he goes insane. It's they established early on like Kevin Bacon's character, like he's already kind of a douche. And
he's a douche, but he's not he's not a killer. He's not a murderer.
But this brings out like what the potential for that he had inside. I mean, he's like telling like the Superman's like raping Wonder Woman jokes and like.
There's a difference between having poor taste and the different, because you could have somebody who says jokes in poor taste for the entirety of their life and they will never act beyond words.
Yeah.
The chemical, the chemical that did it. And if you read the original Invisible Man,
that's what makes him go nuts.
Griffith wasn't crazy. He wasn't even a bad person. He became bad because the chemical that gave him his ability made him crazy. So, and then when he couldn't turn back, it made him even crazier.
And that is what makes him, because he's like locked up in the lab, and he's, he's trying to turn him back, and that's what makes him, pushes him over the edge, and he finally gets out and like sees, oh, I can do whatever I want now. And so it's like, it's not officially based on Invisible Man, but again, it
really is.
Yeah. It's in. Yeah, it's probably just because just like a rights thing, they didn't want to like pay the rights, but I mean it's basically the Invisible Man. And then the 2021, the Blumhouse one, which has the name. It's not an official like direct adaptation, but it again basically is.
Now that one is not. That one's the furthest away. The Hollow Man's got closer adaptation to Invisible Man because that guy was just crazy. That dude was just a piece of shit. The dude that creates Invisible Man 2020. That guy's just a piece of shit. There's no chemical. He puts on a suit.
Yeah, he has an invisibility suit that makes him and see that what I love about both of them too, because you're dealing with invisibility, is the way you like, okay, how do we show the Invisible Man on screen? And Hollow Man has the whole thing about they have like the infrared goggles they're able to see, which that's cool, but I've always what the real fun one for me is always kind of the improvised ways where they'll like throw paint on him, or they'll take a blood pack and throw some, or activate the sprinkles. That's always kind of the fun of like the visual effects of those, is how they make the Visible Man visible. So
the knife scene in the Visible.
Oh yeah, the knife scene that was such a great jump scare. That's my theater. And by the way, that also came out, that beat COVID by about not even a month. That was like 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, I showed you the tickets we did for that, right? The Visible.
Yeah,
tickets.
where you had like the transparent the seat tickets, and that that was. I mean, that came out like right when, I mean, it was like snowballing. It wasn't quite a pandemic yet, but you were like we were seeing just more and more headlines about it. Oh man, that was really close. Yeah, February 28th, and then oh man, that was like what, like 2 weeks before?
Yeah, because Birds of Prey was a promo we did before that.
Yeah. So and it's still now it's still made for $7 million, because that's, I mean, Blumhouse, they can make stuff for like $8 and
their average expenditure was between $7 and $10 million for a good 3 or 4 years.
For that budget, the effects in it are really awesome.
Well, he's the Invisible Man. You don't have to really do much. Hey, he ain't there.
But they have things where like wear the green screen suit and stuff like that. But then the box, what it did box office on, it was budget $7 million, box office 144.5. So
Yeah,
would have
that
made
was-
it would have made like more had it not, had that happen. But again, like for that,
Nah, it got its full run.
yeah,
got its full
for,
run.
for the return on investment. I mean, that's like they're not. I mean,
They were happy with that.
they weren't like, it wasn't. They didn't lose any money at all on that. They turned a good profit.
Justin Timberlake's up there. He hasn't been in a lot of movies, and he hasn't been the carrier of a movie, but he is a decent actor. Alpha Dog, he's been in a couple things, so yeah, I'd have to put him up there. Tyrese, I guess, but I would now. The question was the greatest, and I wouldn't put those guys into. I would definitely not put Meatloaf.
In one of Riley's events, wasn't she going full method acting?
Yeah, she was doing something crazy, and I remember they were selling shirts at the mall. Free Winona, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Will Smith. Will Smith got because I'm a little bit behind.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the Wolfman movie that came out this time last year? It was more like
bad.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it, but didn't really do a lot.
As soon as I heard that the other guy was doing Wolfman WLF, I'm like, okay, that's got to be better, and I haven't even seen it yet. I hated that movie. That the whole disease. What are you doing? Come on, the premise lost me, and once I realized, I'm like, oh.
Do you think that whole Dark Universe thing that had any potential?
Huh?
The Dark Universe, because a lot of these are kind of like modified, like from like what they were going to be in the dark after the Mummy, like the whole Dark Universe. The universe is going to try to do, and then that kind of.
I think it did if they would have stuck with it because it had the star power to muscle. If they wanted to do it, it would have. They had enough star power to muscle through a one bad movie. I thought, but yeah, I thought that movie was horrible. William, your history book correct by chance? Have you watched a history buff? Wow, you guys are doing typos on my level tonight. Have you watched the documentary series called George, which is about George Washington during the French and Indian Wars, the young colonel of the British Army? No, I did watch the Independent War by Ken Burns, but I have not seen that one though.
Yeah, Sleepy. Oh yeah, I love the Tim Burton Sleepy. This is my Rex, and I love the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow. That might be my favorite Tim Burton movie. Is Sleepy Hollow, and this is the guy who discovered Batman through his Tim Burton. So.
No, I have to disagree with this. I'm not blaming him, but I'm answering your question. Who was better, Teemu Selanne or Alex Barkov? Teemu Selanne was the Anaheim Ducks. Him and Jaguar. You have it's not Barkov's fault that he has a good team around him. No, it's not his fault at all. But if you're asking me to break down who would be the better player based on who has two rings or not, Tkachuk was a massive part of keeping Draisaitl and McDavid in check. His forward hitting, his forward checking, they wore them down over the course of games. Sam Bennett could score from anywhere. Sam Bennett, especially on that, he wasn't on the first team, but he was on the second team. His ability to break out and score from anywhere put defensive pressure on the Oilers and allowed them to get beat. Barkov fit in with both of that, though, but I can't say just because he has two rings that he's better than Teemu Selanne. Teemu Selanne is a Hall of Famer outright right now, so yeah.
Oh, here's a good one for me. You know what I will say? Scary Movie 2, that is the closest that series actually comes to being good. Is Scary Movie. It's still terrible, but it's the closest they have come to actually making a halfway decent comedy is Scary Movie 2. That's the one where it's like I almost laugh at points in Scary Movie 2.
Thoughts on the Mummy trailer? I actually thought it's pretty good. Not enough for me to get off my ass and see it, unless we're promoting it. Which probably will,
Lee Cronin.
Yeah.
Okay, because I haven't watched that trailer yet. Because apparently that one apparently that's like an interesting history behind it. Because there was like word like the test screenings were going really bad with it. And then,
by the way, guys, hold your thought. If you ever hear anything about test screenings, stop listening to people. Go ahead.
And then the trailer comes out, and it actually seems like the reception of the trailer's been pretty good. So
yeah, I hate hearing shit about test screenings. I don't give a fuck about it. You know why? Because you don't know what they saw, and usually there's a reason that they bring you in. But guys, there's a difference between a test screening and like what I do, which is a pre-screening. Pre-screenings, we're seeing the movie as they pretty much mean you to see it in 3 or 4 days. A test screening could be a work print screening to where they're testing out certain aspects of the movie that they're about to put through the motions. You might be sitting through a test screening and it's like pencil sketch shit and on a green screen and a tennis ball or some other shit. But there's a part in there that they wanted to see and you get your response. You may see a whole movie, but it's not completely done yet, and they're changing stuff based on what you're talking about. So if somebody comes up to you and say, well, I saw, this is a test screening, you know what, there's a good likelihood that they may be shipping that out and putting something else in. Like when we went to go see, when we were at Comic-Con and we saw the first 20 minutes of Predator Badlands, there are scenes that are not finished that we can't see. And there are certain aspects of the movie because they're trying to get their response. They're floating a weather balloon. They're like, we want to try this in this movie and we shot this. What do you think? And there's a lot of times when, a lot of stuff that gets deleted and put on the cutting room floor is because of those test screenings and the response from those people sitting in that room. But it's really not the kind of information that's meant to go out into the general public to shape the perception about a movie. So I hate when that gets out, but hey. All right, we're going to wind this down here. The previous question, who's the greatest actor to become a singer, or someone who is primarily a singer to begin with and became... Okay, so yeah. So then a lot of these things like Jack Black, these things are going to be eliminated because we don't know them primarily as singers. So so to me, it would still be Cher. Did you ever have to read Lord of the Flies or watch the movies? I did not read the movie, but I did see the movie.
That was I did I think it was my sophomore year of high school, and we were reading the book in my English class. I did see the movie too. I've seen that was part of my my high school education with Lord of the Flies.
Bryan Singer convinced WB. Now here's the thing about the test screenings though, they're not for us. I think that was a mistake because you may think something is a great idea in your head, but you want to test it out, like in an audience, maybe some insiders, maybe some at-large people, put them in a room, engage their response to that. And if they say, you know what, that fucking blows, let's not do that. Then if you can, now that's part of your decision-making process, you can make adjustments and do that. You might have 3 or 4 different test screenings and dailies and stuff before you get the finished product. So I do believe in test screenings. I just don't think the general public should be taking that information to a place where it's gospel. I mean, it's a part of the process. It's not, the type of stuff that a fan or somebody outside the process really should be taking, without, not even more than a grain of salt. Because like I said, maybe if he'd have done test screenings, somebody in test screening would be like, you know what, you're trying to feel like the 80s and I just don't feel it. And maybe that would have changed the course of Superman Returns, because Superman Returns had all the makings of a good movie, but the story was horrible. The action wasn't there, and it relies heavily on a Superman that hadn't been, relevant to a modern audience of 2006 in, almost 20 years. The last Superman movie prior to that was 1987. So you're marketing, who are you marketing to at that point? And that's where nostalgia hurts you. You just got to know the room. So yeah. I am a big believer of whatever process you use to make your movie, go ahead and use it. It's just that when we hear things about this, it's like people like, well, I heard the test screenings are awful. It's going to be an awful movie. No, you know what? You may hear the test screenings are awful, and they went back after that test screening and made a whole bunch of adjustments, and we end up with a fucking Oscar winner. We don't know, but we think we know because we hear the shit on the internet. So there we go. All right, this will be the last question. Now, William, what are your favorite deep cut album from Aerosmith? Pump. Pump, I think, is our I think that's my favorite album from them. That's got a lot of I mean, it's Pump and then Get a Grip, because those are back-to-back albums, 1990, and then 1993 was Get a Grip. Get a Grip has a lot of good songs. Crying. I mean, I saw them. That's the Get a Grip album is where I saw them here in Vegas. They actually that album was released while I was in basic training, and I got to see them in concert a year and a half later. But Permanent Vacation has a lot of good songs too. Angel, Ragdoll. Permanent Vacation is where they came back into the light after Walk This Way. People started paying attention to Aerosmith, and they had a whole new career. So I'm gonna say Deep Cut is going to be everything after Permanent Vacation and after. Permanent Vacation, Pump, and Get a Grip. Those three right there. All right, I thought that was going to be the last one. William, do you think both Transformers and G.I. Joe are dead franchises? No. Like the Expendables to the point where pointless? No, because even in their worst day, there's a difference between something running its course. Expendables was a good thing for just about 2 movies. So it's not, it's not a dead franchise. It's a dead franchise because you've done everything you can do with that premise and those type of characters. With Transformers, you have an entire universe that you haven't even remotely touched. But it's been 5 million years, and all I got were like partial Unicron. That's the kind of shit that hurts you, is because the universe, and when it comes to Transformers and G.I. Joe, it is known for shit. There are certain expectations that you really need to expound on when you do those franchises. And I think both of those franchises have tap dance or not executed properly. That doesn't mean that they're dead franchises, because you put out one good G.I. Joe movie, that is a G.I. And like I said, the problem with G.I. Joe is you need to put that in the hands of somebody who's ridiculous. You need G.I. Joe. It needs to be ridiculous in order for it to be done right. Transformers, the first movie started off right, but it got off topic. Remember, Transformers, the cartoon was created to sell the toys. And after the first one, I just didn't feel like I was watching something that I wanted to play with toy-wise. And that's the appeal of Transformers. So I think you can still do these things. You just have to do them in a different way. I don't even think you need to reboot, because in order for the necessity to reboot Transformers, you would have to have told the story. There's so much shit that they haven't touched. They could still use the Transformer universe they have now, just make better movies. That's all. Don't need to reboot Transformers, just make better movies. And when it comes to G.I. Joe, I don't even know if there's anything that you can do with that version of G.I. Joe to, I don't know, reboot is a one thing, but you can just tell the story from a different place. And if you want to bring those characters in, you can. But I think G.I. Joe needs to go the same route that He-Man looks like it's going with. It's a toy. It's a toy that was aimed for kids. The only reason you have Masters of the Universe, the cartoon, is to sell toys from Mattel. The only reason you had Transformers was to sell really expensive toys for that era from Hasbro. And the same thing with G.I. Joe. That was it. Those shows were commercials for toys. So I think the movies should kind of be commercials for toys. So I don't know if there needs to be a reboot, but I think there needs to be a different frame of thought going forward. William, test screenings can also hurt a film. The whole plot of The Flash was leaked online last year. That's a unique situation, Rational, because once again, every time somebody brings up something about The Flash, I have to remind everybody we had poor management then too. You had poor management, poor structure, and you had a lot of people. The people that were sitting in those test screens and those dailies really didn't have a grasp on that product either. So as far as like having the plot, listen, knowing the plot to a movie doesn't mean shit to a lot of people. It's how it's executed. It's not what you know in advance. It's how what you know is executed. I always bring Spider-Man No Way Home. We all knew that those people were in the movie. We knew they were in the movie, but it didn't stop the movie from being good or successful because the execution is what got it. Knowing the premise of The Flash, we all knew the premise of The Flash and the plot and everything else. But if you put out a good, cohesive movie, people will still go see it. But once again, The Flash is a horrible example on any level because of the fact it was bad outgoing management. So yeah, I got to take that one with a grain of salt. All right, recent Justice League comic. I have not read it. So there you go. All right, guys, that's going to be it. We have reached our average 90 some odd minutes for this Sunday night weekend wrap up. Enjoy the last week of February. Stay warm, stay healthy. Flu season's coming on. I got my shot. Still got the allergies, but I'll be all right. And I will see you again for our regularly scheduled No Topic Tuesday, where you guys will bring the topic. In the interim, please like, subscribe, share, hit the alert bell, do all those things that help the channel on its ever so slowly crawl to the top here. But appreciate everything. So have a nice morning. Have a good rest of your Monday, and we'll see you later.
You guys.